So yeah, so MMA. Who named it mixed martial arts?
You know what? That's a whole story, and you're going to hear.
I heard it was you.
Well, I give credit to Jeff Blatnick as far as he didn't come up with the term.
Who did?
But the truth of and this is the first thing I can tell you. I wrote I had to do what's called a work permit for LAPD because I worked for LAPD back in 1993, 93 into 94. And it was because I was going to referee this second UFC, which was March 11th in 1994. And for me to actually work, the department has to allow me to. I have to ask for permission, and then they have to grant that permission.
Was there a concern that it was too outrageous?
Well, that was part of the whole thing is I didn't want to say, oh, I got two guys going into a cage that are going to beat the shit out of each other.
Right.
So the first thing I put was a martial arts referee.
Okay.
And then they said, well, what kind of martial arts? So I wrote mixed martial arts referee. Now, I can tell you that was in 90, right at the end of 93.
And where did you get that term?
I didn't get it from anywhere other than I'm sitting there trying to think of it. But I do know that there was a columnist, a sports writer from the LA Times that wrote about the very first UFC. And in his article wrote mixed martial arts.
Oh, so maybe it was him.
So you got John Peretti saying that he did it back in 1983. It's like, okay, well, if no one's saying it, it doesn't mean shit.
Right.
Okay. So the truth of the matter is,
so Peretti might have said it in 83.
He might have said it, but it didn't mean anything.
Right.
Because the fact of the matter is, and it doesn't matter what I wrote, what matters is when you joined it. When you joined the UFC, it was still considered no holds barred, NHB.
Yeah. NHB was what we called it.
And it was something that was, and this is probably part of my problem with Campbell McLaren is before UFC 2, they had him on Good Morning America with Jim Brown. And you go back to that, and he came up with the line that you could win by knockout, tap out, or death. Okay? And for years after that, I was in court having that thrown in my face by the frickin' attorneys trying to put us down, saying, isn't this what your company said? No, that's not what my company says.
Human cockfighting.
That's what an idiot said.
Yeah.
Okay? And so he still, to this day, thinks he was magnificent with that. Okay? But you look and you go...
Well, he might have been in terms of buying...
It drew attention.
On pay-per-view.
It drew attention, there's no doubt. But when we were trying to combat that, we were trying to get away from no holds barred because no holds barred meant there's no rules, and there was rules.